Every morning I wake up without pain, without pills, and with peace in my heart. I am 94 years old and I still live alone. I cook, I sweep the porch, and I even take care of my garden. People often ask me, "What is your secret?" And the truth is, there is no magic. Just 5 simple morning habits that I started many years ago and that I have maintained with consistency. Now I know that if you are listening to me, perhaps you are dealing with morning stiffness, fatigue, or mental confusion. Maybe your doctor has told you that it is normal with age, but I am here to tell you that they are wrong. You don't have to live like this. Today I am going to share the exact 5 things I do every morning, and that have allowed me not only to survive, but to thrive without medications or complicated routines. They are habits that any woman, no matter her age, can start tomorrow. One of them helped my friend recover her balance and stop using her walker. Another completely transformed my nighttime sleep. And the third has made me feel more mentally sharp than in decades. If today you give me just a few minutes of your time, I promise to give you something even better in return. Hope, strength, and a plan that you can really follow. 1. That glass of water that changed everything. Let me ask you a question. How do you start your morning? For years, my day began like that of many women my age. I woke up stiff, dragged my feet to the kitchen, poured myself a cup of coffee, and waited for the mental fog to clear by mid-morning. But that confusion, that stiffness, that heaviness, wasn't just age, it was dehydration. And quietly, every morning things got worse. I learned this at 75 years old. That year I started having dizzy spells. I felt my fingers swollen. My knees hurt even before I stood up. My doctor said that was normal at 70, but deep down I didn't accept it. I started reading, researching, asking questions, and what I discovered shocked me. We lose almost 1 liter of water every night just through breathing and skin evaporation. That equals about 4 full glasses. And yet, what do most of us do when we wake up? We drink coffee, which actually dehydrates us even more. Studies from Johns Hopkins Medicine have shown that even mild dehydration in people over 65 can reduce brain function by more than 25%. It also increases inflammation, which worsens joint pain, and can even accelerate brain aging. That was enough for me to change. So I began a simple ritual, and I haven't skipped it in almost 20 years. This is what I do. Every night before going to bed, I pour a glass of room temperature water, 470 milliliters to be exact. I add a pinch of natural sea salt. Not table salt or flavored powdered salt, just a pinch of mineral-rich salt. And when I wake up, before coffee, before breakfast, before even speaking to anyone, I drink it all. That simple step of barely 30 seconds completely changed my day. In the first mornings, I noticed my knees were smoother, my swollen hands improved, and my thoughts were clearer before 8. Why the salt? Because the body needs electrolytes to absorb water at the cellular level. The small amount of salt helps the cells rehydrate, restoring balance more quickly. This process is called osmotic absorption, and it is essential after 8 hours of fasting and fluid loss. For those who don't like drinking plain water on an empty stomach, sometimes I add a splash of lemon, but without sugar, honey, or juice. Anything sweet can trigger an insulin response that interferes with the body's ability to regulate its metabolism. Now, let me tell you about my friend Mary Lou. She is 82 years old. She lives nearby and suffered from daily headaches and occasional fainting spells. Her doctor prescribed blood pressure medication, but it didn't work. One afternoon, I told her about this little water ritual. She laughed. It's too simple to actually work. But she tried it. 3 days later, the headaches stopped. A week later, she called me and said, "I woke up and stood up without holding onto the wall." Ladies, it is not magic, it is biology. Our bodies are thirsty, they protest with fatigue, pain, and confusion. You deserve better mornings, You deserve energy and mental clarity, and you can start tomorrow with a glass of water and a pinch of salt. So tonight, before you go to bed, fill your glass and leave it on your nightstand. Make it simple. Make it nice. Add a slice of lemon if you want, and in the morning, before anything else, drink it with joy. It is an act of love toward your body, and I promise it will thank you greatly. 2. Let the light in. Just as morning sunlight restores balance and joy. Do you remember when mornings were fresh, when the sun slipped through the curtains and you felt energy to face the day? I do, and I remember when that feeling began to fade. At my 70 years, although I was still sleeping the same hours, I started waking up tired. I went to bed at 10, got up at 6, but still felt groggy and down. I sat with my coffee and had the feeling of watching the world wake up without me. Then, one day, my granddaughter asked me a question that changed everything. She said, "Grandma, why don't you sit on the porch in the mornings anymore?" That impacted me. Let me tell you what I have learned since then and why every woman over 60 needs to hear this. Your body works with its own rhythm, a natural clock called the circadian rhythm. And it doesn't just affect sleep. It controls more than 150 bodily functions: hormones, digestion, immune system, mood, and even the body's ability to repair itself during the night. But here is the key. That clock must be reset every day, and the reset switch is sunlight. Not any light, not a lamp, not kitchen lights, but real morning outdoor light. Studies from Stanford and the University of Colorado show that just 10 to 15 minutes of morning sunlight can increase serotonin, the neurotransmitter that produces well-being, by more than 40%. That same light also tells the brain to stop producing melatonin, which helps you wake up naturally and prepares the ground for better rest that same night. Every morning, within the 30 minutes after waking up, I go outside. Sometimes I prepare a tea. Sometimes I simply breathe. I stand or sit quietly for 10 or 15 minutes, without sunglasses, without glasses if I can avoid it, and let the light hit my eyes. It is important that the light enters through the eyes, not just the skin, because special receptors in the retina send signals to the brain to adjust the biological clock. Even on cloudy days, the outdoor light is enough, and if it is cold, I wrap myself with a shawl and go out anyway. I have even done it in the rain under the porch just to get the light. Let me tell you the story of my dear friend Dolores. She is 81 years old and has been fighting insomnia for years. She has tried melatonin, teas, and even prescription sleeping pills. Nothing had worked. One Sunday after church, I told her about my sun habit. At first, she laughed. "I don't think sitting on the porch will solve my sleep problem," she said. But I asked her to try it for 1 week. That Friday she called me. "I fell asleep last night at 9:30 and didn't wake up until 6. That hadn't happened in 10 years. Since then, she started drinking her coffee outside every morning and says it is now her favorite moment of the day. 3. Just 4 minutes to keep the mind agile. The morning ritual for the brain that changed everything. I want to ask you something from the heart. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? Or stood in the kitchen staring at the fridge without knowing what you were going to do? I have. And I will tell you that at first it scared me because as women we carry so many things in our minds, names, dates, memories, to-do lists. And when those small lapses start happening more often, we feel that something precious is slipping away. But this is the truth. Your brain is not broken. It is simply underused in the wrong way and at the wrong time. What I discovered in my late 70s saved me years of worry and only requires 4 minutes every morning. Right after waking up, the brain is in a unique state. Scientists call it plasticity, which means it is more open to forming new connections. Higher levels of a substance called BDNF appear, a natural brain fertilizer that helps neurons grow, connect, and repair. This brief moment of peak brain activity only lasts a few instants in the morning. If you waste it, it disappears. If you use it wisely, you can strengthen your memory, your mental clarity, and even protect yourself against long-term decline. I call it my morning mental tune-up, and I have done it every day since I turned 70. It looks like this. 1 minute. Solve a simple math problem. Maybe 23 plus 18 or 5x6. Something simple but not automatic. This wakes up your logical brain. 1 minute. Remember a detail. Close your eyes and recall your wedding day, the smell of your mother's kitchen or your son's first Christmas. Try to visualize the scene, the faces, the sounds. 1 minute. Learn 4 new words. You can read them from a book, a calendar, or a list. Say them out loud. Use them in a sentence. This strengthens your language. 1 minute. Visualize your day. Imagine yourself moving through the morning calm, strong, joyful. Visualize success. This boosts your cognitive ability and emotional resilience. That's all, just 4 minutes, and yet the impact is extraordinary. 4. Move with grace. A quiet morning routine that allows you to maintain your independence. Let me tell you a little secret. It is not youth that makes you independent, but mobility. The ability to get up from a chair without pain, to bend down and pick something up without fear, to walk confidently through the kitchen or the garden. And I will tell you something, not all people over 80 can do it, but you can. And it begins with how you move during the first 30 minutes of the day. Before I believed, like many women, that stretching was the best way to activate the body. I had an old VHS tape with yoga postures from the 90s. I touched my toes, twisted my back, moved my neck, and wondered why I felt worse afterward. Then, at 86 years old, I started feeling sharp pain in my lower back. Getting up from the sofa became harder. One morning, I lost my balance while trying to put on my socks, and it scared me a lot. So, I went to a physical therapist specialized in older women, and what she told me changed everything. She said, "The stretches you did at 40 no longer help you. In fact, they may be harming you. With age, our joints lose hydration, our connective tissues become less flexible, and our spine becomes more sensitive to certain pressure and twisting. What worked decades ago can now cause small tears, inflammation, and instability, but movement is still essential. We just have to move smarter, with purpose, gently, and in a sequence that respects our biology. Now I follow what I call my inside-out mobility sequence. It only lasts 7 minutes, but it is the reason I can still take care of the garden, kneel to pray, and carry laundry up and down the stairs. Let me explain it to you. First step, shoulder circles 30 seconds. Sit upright in a firm chair. Let your arms rest at your sides. Slowly make small circles forward for 15 seconds and then backward for 15 seconds. This improves circulation in the upper body and warms the stiff shoulder joints. Step 2. Seated marching 1 minute. Stay seated. Lift one knee and then the other as if walking gently. Do it slowly and breathe deeply. This activates the abdomen and improves blood circulation in the hips and legs. Step 3. Chest expansion in the doorway. 30 seconds. Stand in a doorway with your hands at shoulder height. Gently lean forward until you feel a stretch in your chest. Hold for 30 seconds. This helps undo the hunched posture we often develop after years of caring for others, typing, or slouching. Step 4. Supported squats 1 minute. Stand in front of a counter or the back of a sturdy chair. Holding lightly, bend your knees a little, only as far as is comfortable. Then return to the starting position. Repeat slowly. This strengthens the thighs and glutes, the strongest muscles in the body, and key for maintaining independence. Fifth step, seated ankle circles 1 minute with each foot. Sit again. Lift one foot and slowly circle the ankle clockwise for 30 seconds, and then counterclockwise. Repeat with the other foot. These small movements improve balance and blood circulation and help prevent falls. That's all. 7 minutes of gentleness without getting on the floor, without mats, without pain. 5. Feed your strength. The breakfast that keeps you energized. Let me ask you something simple but important. What did you have for breakfast this morning? A toast? A banana? A cup of coffee? Maybe a little jam on an English muffin. Now, let me ask you something more. Did you feel full of energy afterward, or did you crash mid-morning and need another cup of coffee just to keep going? For years, my breakfast was exactly that. Light, sweet, and fast. I thought I was doing the right thing. I believed that as I got older, I needed a light breakfast, but I was wrong, and I paid for it with muscle loss, fatigue, and unexplained weakness. What I didn't know then is what I want to share with you now, because it changed everything for me. After the age of 60, something changes in your body. Your muscles become resistant to growth, even if you consume the same amount of protein as before. This is called anabolic resistance. It means your body doesn't build or maintain muscle mass as easily. You need more protein, and you need it at the right time. And the most favorable time is first thing in the morning. Researchers discovered that older adults who consumed between 25 and 30 g of high-quality protein during the first hour after waking had greater grip strength, better balance, and significantly slower muscle loss, regardless of what they ate the rest of the day. This simple habit, changing the time I consumed protein, helped me maintain my strength, my energy, and my ability to take care of myself. And what does this look like? This is what I usually eat most mornings. 2 scrambled eggs with cottage cheese, half a cup of Greek yogurt, a small cup of green tea, or if I feel like something cold, Greek yogurt with protein powder mixed in, a handful of berries and some nuts. Sometimes I prepare a shake with whey protein, almond milk, a spoonful of collagen powder, and a frozen banana. It is delicious and easy to digest. The key is to get 25 to 30 GIs of protein in one meal. It should not be spread throughout the day. That concentrated dose is what your muscles need to activate and respond. Let me tell you about my friend Viola. She is 91 years old and is one of the most lucid and elegant women I know. But a few years ago, she started having trouble lifting shopping bags. Her doctor recommended more exercise, but that wasn't the real problem. We looked at her breakfast: toast, fruit, and black coffee, no protein, no fuel. She made a change. She added 2 eggs and a serving of yogurt every morning. After a month, she said, "I feel strong again. I feel like myself." That is the power of feeding your body what it needs when it needs it. And here is one more tip. Eat protein right after your mobility routine. Moving first improves blood flow to the muscles, making them more receptive to the protein you consume afterward. So move, then refuel, and remember, avoid starting the day with sugary foods. Sweet cereals, muffins, fruit juices give you a quick energy boost, but then crash you and make it harder to burn fat and stay mentally clear. You don't need a bodybuilder's diet. You don't need fancy powders or expensive meals. Just real food, real protein at the right time. Because when you feed your strength, you feed your independence, you feed your ability to get up from the chair, to reach that high shelf, to carry your grandchild, to walk through the world upright and steady. And that, my dear friends, is worth much more than any number on a scale. So tomorrow morning, before you take a sip of coffee or eat a toast, ask yourself, am I feeding my strength or just my habit? Your muscles are still responding. Give them what they need. There you have it. 5 simple things. A glass of water, a few minutes under the morning light, a short review for your beautiful mind, gentle movements that respect your body, and a breakfast that gives you strength. Without recipes, without tricks, just small but powerful decisions we make every morning. Next week, I will share my nighttime habits that help me fall asleep naturally, without using any sleeping pills. So subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, may your mornings be peaceful, your steps firm, and your heart light. With love from one wise woman to another,